Hi, I'm Deb Tillett. I'm the president of the ETC, and we are the City of Baltimore's Technology and Innovation Center. We are making an impact on the City of Baltimore one entrepreneur at a time. Today, I'm here to talk with Darius Graham. As Director of Student Ventures at Johns Hopkins University, you lead entrepreneurship and innovation initiatives that help transform new technologies and move novel ideas into viable ventures. But among these initiatives are Fast Forward, a suite of resources and network of innovation hubs for student entrepreneurs, and the Social Innovation Lab, an accelerator for social ventures led by students or community members. Welcome, Darius. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, thanks, Deb. Glad to be here.
Great. So I have a couple questions for you,
Sure.
and I really want to start with your career.
Right.
And I love this, I'm fascinated, but in 2009 you graduated from University of California, Berkeley School of Law, and I'm so proud of you. You didn't,
Thanks.
you actually, well, for that, but also you didn't actually practice law.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing, I love when that happens. And in 2001 you founded the DC Social Innovation Project. In 2014 you became director of the Social Innovation Lab at Hopkins. And in August you became the director of Student Ventures. Can you tell us about that career odyssey and where you are now and what really drives you? What's passionate about social innovation?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I often get the question of how did I get here or to this role or working in innovation and entrepreneurship, and it really is in a roundabout sort of way. So, as you mentioned, I did attend law school and graduated a while back, and I spent actually some time working at a law firm in Washington, D.C.
I'm sorry.
doing some corporate bankruptcy law. And it wasn't the right fit for me. I actually enjoyed being at the firm, working with very smart people who were doing really important work, but just the subject matter wasn't the right fit for me. I have always been someone that's more civic-minded, wanting to be more creative and build things and do things in a non-traditional way, which was not as welcomed in that environment. So I appreciated the opportunity to be there though, but quickly decided to leave at one point to start a nonprofit that works in DC.
Great. Well, so you talk about, not doing the usual thing. Going from California to Baltimore,
Sure.
Usually, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
So tell me about that for a minute.
Yeah, so I'd spent some summers both in college and in law schools in DC for internships and working at firms. So when I graduated from law school, looking for a place to go to afterwards to work, DC was a natural choice for me because I'd spent so much time there in school or during the summers of school. And so I started out there, had a great time, like I said, working at the firm. I eventually started a nonprofit in DC and then had the opportunity several years ago to join Hopkins as the first full-time director of the Social Innovation Lab. So it's been quite a journey going from all these places coming to Baltimore, but I think this is definitely the right place for me now.
It seems to be, but talk about the Social Innovation Lab. What is it? And, well, for that matter, what is a social innovator? Sure.
So social innovators or social innovation really is this concept of addressing a social issue in a unique or creative way. It doesn't necessarily involve technology or some kind of app or medical device. It can, but it just really means being creative or taking an untraditional approach to addressing a social issue. So that's what Social Innovation Lab does and looks for. So we have an annual process where every fall, anyone in the Baltimore area can apply with an idea for a venture they want to start. We work with them over 6 months.
Anyone in Baltimore?
Yeah, anyone.
Okay.
So it originally started
Right.
for students at Hopkins, and in 2015, we opened it beyond Hopkins because we wanted to be more inclusive and to serve more people in the city who have great ideas and have them work alongside our students at the same time. So
that's great.
currently anyone in the Baltimore area can apply. We work with them over 6 months. They get some funding, access to mentors, access to space. We do a lot of workshops and coaching, and the real meat of it is really helping people meet the milestones that can move their venture forward.
That's terrific. And the relationship with Johns Hopkins Technology Ventures?
So we're one of several programs under the Johns Hopkins Tech Ventures umbrella.
So tell me about student entrepreneurship and innovation at Johns Hopkins. And about your new position. This is very exciting, but how important is it that we start early with entrepreneurship?
Hopkins has always been an innovative place, especially when it comes to students. Just even over the past decades or years, I hear stories now about startups and groups that were started many years ago here at Hopkins. And part of the work that we're doing now is seeing how can we be more intentional and deliberate, starting earlier with students to help them learn about entrepreneurship and innovation. So part of the work is getting those students who are already keyed into this area of work. So those who may be in the School of Engineering or Public Health and say, I have this idea to address this problem based on something I'm learning in school, and I want to create a company or a product or a service. So we get a lot of students that come to us already with an idea. The other thing that we're trying to do, though, is find other students, whether it's students in a writing seminar, or students that are studying history, or students that are studying music composition, and get them to think about how they can be creative in their work, create new things, and be innovative. So we're doing several things, a lot of programming and events just to bring students into this network and environment so they can learn about entrepreneurship. We're also going to have some competitive funding opportunities for students that have ideas that they actually want to move forward. And then, of course, we'll have two what we call student innovation hubs, the Fast Forward U spaces.
Right.
One on our East Baltimore campus and one at Homewood, where students can spend time in a dedicated space to work on their ventures.
That's great. That's wonderful. So, innovators, can you tell us about some of the innovators who are here, or maybe some of the innovators in residence, the people that actually help you, and and then let's talk about social design fellows. What are social design fellows?
Absolutely. So with Social Innovation Lab, part of the role, myself having been director, is doing a lot of the coaching and supporting the folks who are in the cohort.
Really critical stuff.
Yeah,
having role models such
Absolutely.
as yourself and actually giving back and being part of the program is critical.
Absolutely. A lot of the challenge for our entrepreneurs is on the technical side, of course. How do you start a business? How do you generate revenue? All those things. But a lot of it is on the more personal side too. They want someone that they can trust and talk to and get insight and advice on a variety of things, not just the business side of the work. So that's part of what I do. Also in my role with Social Innovation Lab has been bringing in other voices in different areas of expertise. So you mentioned the Social Design Fellows. These are, every year we have at least 2 graduate students from MICA's Social Design program. And
Nice.
they work with us to work directly with some of our teams in Social Innovation Lab to help them rethink their approach. So people apply to the program like I described, they get in with their idea for what they're going to do, but our Social Design Fellows say, let's take a step back, let's really dive deep into the root cause of the problem that you're attempting to address, and let's go out and talk to the people that you want to serve. And so they walk us through this entire design process.
Very deliberate design process.
Very intentional
Sure.
and deliberate. And so something that they're studying and really gaining an expertise in. So they're very helpful in that regard. We also have a mentor role called the Neighbor in Residence, and that was something that started last year. And it just came up because we have so many of our teams that are, of course, focused on issues in Baltimore City.
I love the name. Did you guys come up with that?
Yes,
Neighbor in Residence?
Absolutely. And part of it is we want to show that in this work of social startups or social ventures, part of it, again, is about that business experience and expertise. But another part of it is knowing who do you talk to in a neighborhood if you have a question. If I'm starting some kind of youth sports program, I can't just sit in a room like this and come up with an idea. I have to go out, talk to community groups, talk to churches, talk to families who live in the neighborhood. And so the Neighbor in Residence is meant to be someone who knows neighborhoods, knows community groups, knows who to go to and to talk to.
Right.
So we had someone in that role last year who was just extraordinarily helpful at connecting our groups to neighborhoods.
Growing up in the day, wasn't there just one woman that was always in the neighborhood and she knew everything?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we go for.
Yeah.
We want to show that, business expertise is important, but also having that neighborhood and city expertise is equally as important.
Community,
Right.
We always talk about community.